Hi Virgos, welcome to your October 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And also, just to let you guys know, I will be resuming personal readings in October, so if you're interested in that, just check out the description of the video. I have all the information you need there. As far as what we have in front of us, this is what I call a bridging the gap spread, and the way it works is the cards on the left side here represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest. Cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection. And then we have the past energies, present energies, future energies. Once we get through all those, we'll actually attempt to pull some oracle cards for additional insight. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks being used, on the left side here, we have the Lover's Path Tarot. On the right side, we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. All right, so with that out of the way, the first thing I will say is I noticed you guys had major arcana cards in all three positions. So it can be a significant month for you. But past position on your side, we have the Justice card. So this is actually the major arcana card for Libra. So on the one hand, this can to say that you did have a heavy focus on relationships, right? Since Libra is the natural ruler of the 7th house. But, I mean, if we take this artwork in particular into consideration, most of the major arcana cards have couples in them in this deck, as you could see with the other two we have there. And here, yeah, there is someone behind that curtain, it looks like, but I almost get the feeling that maybe there was some separation between you and this person. So, maybe you were working, just focusing on your career in the meantime. Or maybe even because your career was very busy, there could have been some separation between the two of you. Could play out either way. I mean, you guys did have Venus move through your sign right around the end of Leo season, and then through a pretty good portion of September. Then it moved into Libra, your second house. So, this could just be pointing to maybe when all of those transits are moving through your second house, that might have been where your energy went as well. But yeah, I do pick up on distance because, like I said, most of the major arcana cards in this deck do have the couples. And here, just the fact that this person isn't really fully in sight, they're like behind that curtain, looks like, makes me think that maybe because there was some distance between the two of you guys were working on your career, just focusing on that a lot, or the other way around. You might have had such a heavy focus on your career that, you didn't have much time for this person in the past. Could play out either way. Past energy on their side, we have the Seven of Wands. So this is actually a Leo energy, represents the last 10 degrees of Leo. And also, it's the way I view it as a combination of the Sun and Jupiter energy. So usually this does represent, standing out from others, maybe having a streak of good luck, maybe being in the spotlight in some way too. And so if we think about the Rider-Waite version of the Seven of Wands, there's the person, they have that higher vantage point, and then it looks like 6 people trying to attack them, right? But having that higher vantage point gives them the advantage, even though they're outnumbered. So maybe this is someone, maybe you guys had a lot of people who were interested in you. Maybe this was someone that stood out in the pack, from the pack, rather. And that could just be saying that that's what was going on there. Maybe this is someone that really fought for you, quote unquote. They were really putting an effort to try to get your attention. Uh, as to whether it worked or not, I don't know, because like I said, it looks like you're pretty focused on something over there in the past. But that's the vibe I'm getting. And then another way this could be playing out too for some of you, since we do have the Justice card here, and this does represent an energy of, standing up for yourself in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you might have thought that they were up to something in the past, and then maybe you called them out on it. But with that Seven of Wands energy, most likely it was nothing, because the Seven of Wands usually does, especially in upright, represent successfully defending yourself. So, maybe it was just something that you thought was happening that really wasn't. Especially because if we factor in that this is a Leo energy, Leo does represent your 12th house. And sometimes, that could represent where there could be some confusion and maybe, having a bit of difficulty trusting someone. All right. In the present position on your side, we have Wisdom and the Seven of Cups. So interesting energies here. This is actually a Scorpio energy, the last 10 degrees of Scorpio, and then this is actually the equivalent of the High Priestess. So this can just be saying that your intuition's a little bit fuzzy right now. Maybe you're having a little bit difficulty trusting your intuition. And this can just point to, even though this is technically a Scorpio card, for me, I think about the Neptune vibe with this more than anything. And you know, thinking about that and the fact that I do often see this card as a Pisces card, this can just be saying that it could be pointing to the transit that you guys had going on for a pretty good chunk of this year, off and on, as they were retrograding and going direct. But you guys had a square aspect between Jupiter and Neptune in your fourth and seventh house. So, it could have just been what was leading to that fog. And now it finally should be lifting, just because of the fact that Jupiter is going to continue to move forward toward Capricorn. So we're not really going to see that square aspect anymore. It should be lessening as time goes on. And so, yeah, that's really what I'm feeling there. It could just be, like I said, and especially given that this is Leo energy and we see Leo energy here again too, maybe for some reason you're feeling like you can't trust a person. But what's interesting to me with this card in particular, every time I see it, I point out that it's like she's looking in that book, right? But then there's the person right there too with the sword, and it makes me think of like air energy, right? So it's one of those things where it's like maybe you're trying to figure out something about this person, but they almost have the look on their face like, you could just ask me, right? So this could just, because to me the high priestess energy sometimes too represents not communicating, because you're relying so heavily on intuition that you're trying, you're not really focused on actually communicating. So it could just be that you're still trying to figure something out. Like I said, you could just be hell bent on justice, quote unquote, right? Since that's in a past position. So maybe you're really trying to figure something out. Maybe you didn't, even though it looks like they came up clean in the past, you still might be questioning something that they may have said or did, but not directly confronting them about it at the same time. They just might be like, what's going on? And that could be, again, like I said, with that Seven of Cups energy, that could be what it is. You just might not be seeing things too clearly. And like I said, if that is what it is, that transit should start to clear. Although, lucky you, you're going to have Mercury going retrograde in your third house of communication by the end of the month. So you'll probably start feeling those effects in the middle of the month too with the shadow period. So I don't know. Maybe that's what this is pointing to as well. But the present energy on their side is the Strength card. So, I mean, here we are, two Leo cards back to back, so you could definitely be dealing with the Leo at the very least. But what I see here, and why I was saying that, it could be one of those things where you're just stuck in your head right now. And maybe that's what this justice energy was about, too. It might just be that you're really just focused on other areas right now rather than the connection itself. And this could be them coming around, like, usually when I see this card, I point out how with the Rider-Waite, it looks like the woman is trying to close the lion's mouth. Here it looks like she's trying to open the mouth to the animal there. So this could just be saying that they're trying to get you to communicate, like, hello, Earth to Earth to Virgo, are you here? So that could be what's going on there too, where maybe they're feeling like you're so wrapped up in your own world and not communicating at all, right? And maybe they're trying to get your attention in some way, shape, or form, but it's not really working too well. And they're like, can you let me know what the hell's going on? That could be what's going on there. So maybe that's, if anything, the message that, maybe there's some difficulty with communicating between the two of you right now. Like I said, unfortunately, it might only get worse with the retrograde coming up, so something to keep in mind there. But that's what I always pick up on here. And also, sometimes this is referred to as a lust card in other decks. So, maybe this is them, and maybe you just have been so focused on work, and maybe you have been in your own world, right? And now we see these two fire energies back to back, and Leo energies at that, which is fifth house activity, right? So this can just be them trying to, spark some passion in the connection. And maybe you're just so wrapped up in, maybe this is even school for some of you too. I mean, it is wisdom, right? The card. So maybe some of you guys are just really focused on taking some kind of college courses or something along those lines, and focused on your career. Basically, it's like your focus is everywhere but on the connection. And this person could be like, hello, right? So maybe they're feeling a little bit left out in some way, shape, or form. It's interesting too is at the bottom of the deck you guys have the Four of Cups. So usually that's representing, being disappointed with offers coming your way. So I don't know. It could just be, and then we could also look at the fact that in this spread in particular, the way that this card is laid out, she's looking away from this side too. So you could just really be in your own world, focused on other things right now. And obviously, this person would like if you were focused on the connection a little bit. So it looks like there's just a disconnect here. And the more I'm looking at the energies, I don't necessarily think that anything nefarious necessarily took place. It's just that you seem to really just be focused elsewhere. And they're like, hello, Earth to Virgo. So that's what's going on. But what's interesting, though, in the future position on your side, we have tradition. So this is actually the equivalent of the Hierophant card. And, obviously with the artwork here, it makes you think that this would actually end up being a stable long-term commitment. So maybe this is really just, maybe you guys were so focused on other areas, and maybe this is someone, since we've seen Leo energy pop up here twice, someone who's really been trying to, break your walls down, right? And now maybe it's saying that eventually in the future it actually will work out and you guys will actually enter into a relationship together. It's interesting though. And then also for you guys, Taurus is your ninth house. So maybe again that could point to higher education. So maybe this is just saying that maybe you guys are trying to wrap something up, and maybe in the future, quote unquote, maybe for example you guys are graduating in December, right? So maybe you're just like, all right, look, yes, I still love you, whatever, whatever. I'm really focused on this right now, right? And like I said, in that way, you might almost see them as more of an annoyance than anything, right? If they're not giving you that space. But I could just say that once you're past that, then, you should be fine to move forward together. Another way it could be playing out too, though, is just saying maybe whatever you've been trying to figure out, like I said, it looks like maybe you might have been a little reluctant to trust them. And like I said, that happens. If it's a Leo, especially, that means they'll have placements in your 12th house. And sometimes you could have difficulty trusting people with placements in your 12th house. And maybe this is just you seeing things from a higher perspective now and being like, okay, whatever I thought was going on, maybe it actually wasn't going on, right? And then you start to actually be able to trust them, and then the connection can move forward. Um, Trying to think if anything else comes to mind with that. Well, I will say when the new moon in Scorpio happens towards the end of October, it's actually going to be opposite Uranus in your ninth house too. So if we're looking for a timeline, maybe that's going to be when you get that shift. Maybe you start to see things from a different perspective when that new moon takes place. All right, future energy on their side, we actually have the Queen of Wands and the Eight of Wands. So all fire energy on this side. But what's interesting is this actually usually represents Aries energy, and then this is actually a Sagittarius card. So now we have all three fire signs represented here. So if you're not dealing with an actual fire sign, at the very least, this is someone that seems to have fiery energy. But yeah, with the Queen of Wands, especially with this deck too, and the Eight of Wands, which is a Sagittarius energy, to me this represents, again, this is someone who seems to be dead set on, bringing the passion back to the connection. Like I said, it looks like you guys are just so wrapped up in maybe work, school, possibly even both, and a bit detached from the connection as a result. So this is them, really just putting in that effort to get things, put the spark back in the connection, basically. Um, yeah, I mean, the Eight of Wands is pretty self-explanatory. Everyone's used to it with the Rider-Waite. We see the Eight Wands moving through the air. It's usually pointing to communication, taking a lot of action, a lot of movement. And, that with the Queen of Wands energy, that is your eighth house too. So there you go. If you needed even more of an indicator, right? That this could be someone trying to bring the spark back between the two of you. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you've just been so focused on other things that the sex life between the two of you is just completely gone off the board. And obviously, I would imagine that feel like death to a fire sign, right? So maybe that's it's really been like torture for them. But But yeah, and then let's not forget too, there is actually going to be a full moon in Aries this month, which is your eighth house too. So this could just be pointing to a timeline when they really kind of swoop in and try to, get the passion going in the connection again. All right, bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Queen of Chalices. So interesting, both of you have Cancer energy at the bottom of the deck. Um, this is the Court card for Cancer, and then you have the Four of Cups on your side. So to me, this just represents opening up, and just trying to be more passionate and maybe more loving too, right? If we factor in, yes, definitely you're thinking passion with Queen of Wands, but Queen of Chalices here could just be saying, also maybe a bit more romantic and loving in that regard too. So, and this can be actually, maybe this is even a friend of yours too, because Cancer is 11th house energy. And maybe this is saying that this is a friend of yours who's been trying to get, take things to the next level with you. And maybe with the Four of Cups, it's been saying that, you've been turning down their offers in the past. And maybe somehow, some way, things do shift because we do see the tradition card on your side. Maybe things somehow do shift where you guys actually do start to take it in that direction. I don't see anything in particular that would point to that other than their persistence, but that's how that could be playing out too. All right, so next we'll see if we could get some additional messages from the Oracle deck I have here, Mystic Moon Oracle deck. And for those of you who haven't seen this type of reading from me before, what I do is I pre-shuffle this deck before we start recording, and then I'm actually looking for jumpers here. So I'm actually going to first look for any unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. And I usually just shuffle for a minute or so and see if we get anything. If no jumpers pop up though, I'll just take that as a sign to not pull a card, and then we move on, since it is a general reading. Alright, so let's see if we get anything as far as unspoken messages from you to them. Almost had one there. Alright, I'll give it a few more shuffles. Oh, there we go. Got two. There you go. And then we'll see if there's any unspoken messages from them to you. Okay, nothing yet, but I'll give it a few more shuffles. Alright, doesn't look like we're getting anything there, so there we go. Got two from them as well. So, okay. So help clear up the mystery, since, like I said, it doesn't look like there's been a lot of communication going on between the two of you. So, first one we got is, I've thought a lot about you lately. And, like I said, I didn't necessarily feel like anything bad might have happened between the two of you. Like I said, it seems like you're really just wrapped up in something else here. Past, most likely, it was career. Here, it looks like it could even be, like I said, possibly even school for some of you. But, so, I could see where that could be the case. And then the other one says, I should have been more honest with you about how I was feeling at the time. So, and maybe that's what's going to happen in the present position where, they might come to you with that strength energy. Like I said, it looks like she's literally trying to pull his mouth open. So, this could be them, like, really trying to get you to speak up, like, hello, what's going on? And then maybe you finally do tell them, whatever it is that you've been going through. Like I said, maybe you're just focused on career. Or like I said, for some of you, you might feel like they might have done something a little shady because This Leo energy does represent your 12th house, so maybe you're like really just holding out to see what's going on, right? Especially with the Justice card, you could think about that as black and white thinking sometimes, right? And then maybe you're like, well, I'm not really seeing anything. And then you start to try to rely on your intuition, and maybe that's a little fuzzy too. So, maybe you're like just having difficulty trusting them. And then, maybe you finally let them know, hey, this is the situation, right? Then maybe the two of you are actually able to talk about things and clear the air. All right, let's see. The two they got for you. First one we have says, seeing you reminds me of the things I know deep down, and that's not always easy to deal with. Interesting. Trying to look at the cards and see where that would even come across, Yeah, I don't know. Not really picking up much of anything in particular that would point to in the spread here. Let's see what the other one says. Second one says, I just wasn't ready for you. Alrighty then. Interesting. Trying to see if there's anything here that says that they were the ones that were actually, not putting in the effort and the connection. But I'm not sure I see that, to be perfectly honest with you, because like I said, it seems like they were more the aggressor than anything here with all that fire energy, whereas you, it looks like you were just totally off doing your own thing. I just wasn't ready for you. I forgot what this book and the first one says. It's like such a long message. Seeing you reminds me of the things I know deep down, and it's not always easy to deal with. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Like I said, that seems more like that would have fit this energy on this side here. So I guess if anything, I would say if for those of you who you felt like this message resonated vice versa, where you felt like these were more your energies and these were the other person's energies, then maybe that would explain that. But either way, and I mean, who knows? Maybe this is just saying that their approach might have been off for you, right? And maybe that was what was causing the difficulty in the past. And maybe it's, they were feeling something under the surface too that they couldn't really, approach you in the right way. That's certainly a possibility. Let's see what the Wisdom of the Oracle adds to the mix. So same situation with this deck. I actually pre-shuffled it beforehand, and then I'm just looking for one card here, and then we'll wrap up. Drive me nuts trying to figure out what those two messages from their side would mean. Like, just looking at it in the context of the cards we have in front of us, I'm not really seeing anything that would point to that, but I don't know. Hopefully it resonated for someone out there, anyway. Whereas the other ones that were on your side, I could see how they fit in a little bit more with the spread, so I don't know. Alright, there we go. You guys got Imagine. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 20. Like a dreamy looking card there too, so it's probably going to resonate with you pretty good as far as what we see here with the Wisdom and the Seven of Cups. But let's see. Okay. It says turning imagination into manifestation, creative thought, visualization, the power of aligning imagery and feelings, creativity, illusions. Okay, like I said, definitely seems to be referencing the present energy you guys are in. The Oracle's message says, who do you want to be? What do you need to believe in order to have the life you want? You were gifted with the power to imagine. If you can dream it, you can create it. This is the time when your imagination is the key to manifesting the life you desire. Spend time daydreaming, fashioning a vision board to help you see your goals, or meditating. Allow the power of your creativity to deliver images of what feeds your soul. Then allow your feelings to mingle with your inspirations and imagine these things being real right now. Then repeat. What you imagine will become your belief, and soon you will see these things come to pass in the outer world as if by magic. So interesting. I don't know. That's, I mean, I could definitely see, like I said, this would definitely resonate with you guys if this is the present energy you're in, but it's kind of funny because it's almost like, I don't know, were you like imagining them coming toward you in the right way? Like I said, if I feel like you didn't trust their approach in the past, it's almost like were you like using mind controls now to get them to approach you in the way you wanted? I don't know. Kind of weird. But the relationship message says, in matters of the heart, it's easy to daydream about another as a means of connecting to that person. While that's romantic, if you want this relationship to be real, you need to go for it, not just dream about it. Now is the time to move beyond the daydream and into reality, beyond illusion and into fruition. Relationships are about relating. So step out onto the dance floor where imagination partners with manifestation. The message of this card is that a person with attributes you have imagined will enter your life. You'll be changed for the better. Imagine that. So that was interesting there where it said, now is the time to move beyond the daydream reality, beyond illusion and into fruition. Maybe that's where that shift happens for you guys. Like I said, where you're in that wisdom and Seven of Cups energy. I don't see anything in particular that points to, yes, this is going to be when you magically, turn over and then you're all of a sudden in that tradition energy, the Hierophant energy. And like I said, maybe it's just, leftover energy from that square between Neptune and Jupiter finally dissipating that gets you out of that. But as far as the spread in particular, I don't necessarily see what gets you from here to here. But hopefully that resonated for you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.